The world changed on a Tuesday morning when the massive holographic screens flickered to life in every major city across the globe. Yuna Park sat in her small apartment in Seoul, her breakfast going cold as she stared at the unexpected broadcast. Tall, composed United Nations representative stood at the podium, his face a mixture of tension and forced calmness. Behind him, a group of alien delegates watched silently, their presence both fascinating and terrifying. "Citizens of Earth," the representative began, his voice echoing through millions of homes, "we are facing an unprecedented moment in human history." Yuna's hands trembled slightly. She had heard rumors, whispers of something big happening, but nothing could have prepared her for this announcement. The alien delegation stood out dramatically. They were humanoid, but distinctly different, taller, with skin that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal under the studio lights. Their eyes were larger, more intelligent, and held a depth that seemed to look through people rather than at them. "The Xylarian Confederation has made a formal request," the UN representative continued. "Due to their critical population decline and genetic challenges, they require direct human participation in a comprehensive genetic integration program." Outside, the streets of Seoul began to fill with people. Some looked shocked, others angry, and many appeared confused. Smartphones buzzed with emergency notifications, news alerts, and government messages. The broadcast explained the core requirements. All humans between ages 25 and 35 would be mandatory participants in what was officially called the Interstellar Genetic Compatibility Initiative. Each selected individual would be paired with a Xylarian partner based on complex genetic and psychological matching algorithms. "This is not a choice," the representative stated firmly. "This is a global agreement that every nation has already signed. Participation is mandatory." Yuna felt her world spinning. She was 28, perfectly within the selected age range. Her work as an aerospace engineer suddenly seemed irrelevant compared to this massive global shift. The aliens, the Xylarians, remained silent during most of the announcement, their presence alone communicating a sense of inevitability. They didn't need to argue or explain. Their technology, their presence, their very existence spoke volumes about their capabilities. News channels began breaking down the details. The program wasn't just about reproduction. It was about genetic exchange, cultural understanding, and potentially preventing some unknown cosmic threat that humanity was not yet aware of. Military bases around the world went on high alert. Government buildings became hubs of intense activity. Scientists, diplomats, and researchers were being called in for emergency meetings. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Alien Brides, La Xylarian Program, and Global Integration trended worldwide within minutes. People shared theories, fears, and unexpected excitement. In her apartment, Yuna watched everything unfold. She wasn't afraid, surprisingly. Something about the aliens' calm demeanor and the UN representative's serious tone suggested this wasn't an invasion, but a carefully planned collaboration. Her phone rang. It was her mother, panic in her voice. "Did you see the broadcast? Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Yuna responded, her voice steady. "This is happening. We'll figure it out." The broadcast continued, showing initial processing centers where selected humans would undergo medical evaluations, psychological assessments, and initial cultural training about Xylarian society. No one knew exactly what to expect. Would these be marriages, scientific partnerships, a means of survival? The uncertainty was both terrifying and oddly exciting. As the day progressed, the world collectively held its breath. The mandatory Alien Brides program had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. Yuna finished her now cold coffee, watching the screens, waiting for what would come next. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part?" The selection process began with a quiet efficiency that surprised everyone. Massive data centers hummed with activity, processing millions of genetic profiles, psychological evaluations, and personal histories. Yuna received her official notification 3 weeks after the initial broadcast. A sleek digital envelope arrived on her personal communication device, its holographic seal flickering with an otherworldly blue light. The processing center in Seoul was unlike anything she had imagined. Clean, minimalist spaces with soft white walls and advanced technology that seemed to breathe and move. Volunteers and selected participants moved like carefully choreographed dancers, each person processed with machine-like precision. Her first examination lasted 6 hours. Teams of human and Xylarian specialists ran comprehensive tests, blood draws, brain scans, genetic mapping, and psychological evaluations that probed deeper than anything she had experienced before. "This isn't just about reproduction," a Xylarian specialist explained. His translator device converted his complex language into perfect Korean. "We're looking for compatibility on multiple levels: genetic, mental, and potential collaborative capacity." The matching algorithm was a mystery. Some said it was powered by quantum computing. Others whispered about alien technology that could read human potential in ways no existing science could understand. Participants talked in hushed conversations. Some were excited, others terrified. A young engineer named Jae-won told Yuna about rumors of special abilities in hybrid offspring. "They say the children might have enhanced cognitive abilities," he said, his eyes wide with wonder. Security was extreme. Each participant was tracked, monitored, and protected. The global stakes were too high for anything to go wrong. Days passed. Notifications arrived randomly. Some people were selected immediately. Others waited in anxious uncertainty. The randomness created a strange global lottery where fate seemed to play unexpected games. Yuna's final notification came with a detailed profile of her potential partner. Derek, a Xylarian diplomatic strategist, seemed almost too perfect. His profile suggested high emotional intelligence, scientific background, and a rare genetic marker that made him an ideal match. The processing center felt like a mixture between a high-tech hospital and an alien embassy. Xylarian representatives moved among humans, observing, assessing their movements fluid and calculated. "The program ensures mutual survival," one senior Xylarian official explained during a global broadcast. "This is not conquest, this is preservation." Psychological preparation became mandatory. Participants attended intensive workshops about Xylarian culture, communication protocols, and potential challenges of interspecies interaction. Yuna watched other selected individuals. Some were scientists, some military personnel, some ordinary workers. The diversity was remarkable, a true cross-section of human potential. Her personal preparation included language modules, cultural immersion simulations, and advanced communication training. The Xylarian language was complex, involving not just verbal communication, but subtle body movements and energy signatures. The world watched. News channels covered every detail of the selection process. Governments provided constant updates. The global population remained both fascinated and anxious. Derek's initial communication arrived precisely at midnight. A holographic message, perfectly translated, introduced himself with a level of formality that felt both strange and comforting. "Our genetic compatibility suggests significant collaborative potential," his message read. "I look forward to our first direct interaction." Yuna realized this was more than a personal journey. This was humanity's first true step into a larger galactic community. The selection protocol continued, silent and relentless, reshaping human destiny with each processed profile, each matched pair, each carefully calculated connection between two species fighting for survival. As night fell over Seoul, Yuna looked out her window, wondering about the alien who would soon become more than just a profile, more than just a potential partner. The future was waiting, and it looked nothing like anyone had ever imagined. Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part? The first meeting happened in a controlled environment designed to minimize potential cultural shock. Yuna stood in a large white room, her heart racing, waiting for Derek to arrive. He entered with a grace that defied human movement. His adaptive suit shifted colors subtly, responding to the room's atmosphere and his internal biological responses. Xylarian technology was so advanced, it seemed almost magical. "Greetings," Derek spoke, his translator device converting his native language into perfect Korean. Our initial interaction is crucial for understanding. Yuna noticed how his eyes seemed to absorb information differently. They didn't just look. They analyzed, processed, and interpreted everything around them with incredible speed. The first hours were awkward. Cultural differences created unexpected communication challenges. Xylarians valued direct information exchange, while humans appreciated emotional context. Derek's initial approach felt clinical, almost mathematical. "Our goal is not emotional attachment," he explained during their first comprehensive interaction. "We require genetic and strategic compatibility." Training modules had prepared Yuna, but experiencing the reality was completely different. Derek's body language, his subtle energy shifts, and his precise communication style were unlike anything she had encountered. Xylarian communication involved more than words. Small energy pulses, minute body movements, and complex neural signals created a multi-layered conversation. Humans, with their limited perceptual abilities, could only grasp a fraction of their communication. The Integration Center became their primary interaction space. Advanced translation technologies, psychological support systems, and cultural bridge-building programs surrounded them constantly. "Humans have remarkable adaptive capabilities," Derek observed during one session. "Your species' ability to adjust to complex situations is surprising." Yuna learned about Xylarian history, their near extinction, and their desperate need for genetic diversification. It wasn't just a biological requirement, it was about survival. Their training involved multiple layers of interaction, physical compatibility tests, psychological assessments, and complex simulations that tested their potential collaborative abilities. The world watched these initial interactions. Global media covered every approved moment, analyzing each interaction for potential insights into this unprecedented program. Derek explained their civilization's challenges: genetic degradation, reduced reproductive capabilities, and a mysterious cosmic threat had pushed them to seek human partnerships. "We are not conquerors," he emphasized repeatedly. "We are survivors seeking collaborative solutions." Yuna discovered fascinating aspects of Xylarian culture. Their society valued collective intelligence over individual achievements. Personal emotions were secondary to strategic survival. Communication breakthrough moments happened unexpectedly. A shared laugh during a complex simulation, a moment of mutual understanding during a challenging exercise, small connections that transcended species boundaries. Their training included survival scenarios, collaborative problem-solving exercises, and complex interactive simulations designed to test their potential as a functional unit. The integration process was monitored constantly. Medical teams, psychological experts, and alien specialists tracked every interaction, every subtle change in their communication patterns. Derek's scientific background became evident. He approached their interaction like a complex research project, documenting every interaction, analyzing every communication pattern. Yuna found herself both frustrated and fascinated. The Xylarian approach felt cold initially, but she gradually understood the depth of their commitment to mutual survival. Cultural exchange became more than just a program. It became a journey of understanding, of breaking down barriers between two completely different species. As weeks passed, Yuna and Derek moved from being strangers to potential collaborative partners. Their interactions grew more nuanced, more complex, more understanding. The world watched and waited. This was more than a breeding program. This was humanity's first true step into a larger, more complex galactic reality. Something significant was happening, something that would change everything forever. Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part? The resistance movement began quietly, then grew like a wildfire across global networks. Underground groups formed in major cities, spreading messages of human autonomy and rejection of the alien integration program. Yuna first noticed the growing tension during a routine training session. Derek's communication became more guarded, his movements more calculated. Something was happening beyond their controlled environment. Global communication channels buzzed with encrypted messages. Resistance leaders used advanced communication technologies, creating networks that even Xylarian monitoring systems struggled to penetrate. "We are not livestock," one resistance broadcast declared. "Our bodies, our choices." Military and government facilities experienced increased internal conflicts. Some personnel supported the Xylarian program, while others saw it as a form of soft invasion. The internal division created unprecedented global tension. Derek revealed critical information during a private session with Una. The Xylarian program was more complex than anyone had initially understood. A massive cosmic threat loomed, something that required human-alien collaboration for potential survival. "Our species face an extinction-level challenge," he explained, his translator device converting his words with clinical precision. "This is not a choice. This is survival." Underground resistance groups began organizing massive protests. Major cities saw demonstrations that challenged the global integration mandate. People carried signs, blocked processing centers, and created digital campaigns challenging the program's legitimacy. Una found herself in a unique position. As a selected participant, she had access to information that most humans didn't. The Resistance's arguments seemed passionate, but fundamentally misunderstood. The broader context: advanced tracking systems monitored resistance movements. Xylarian technology could predict potential uprising patterns with remarkable accuracy. Each protest, each digital message, each physical gathering was analyzed in real time. Government responses varied. Some nations implemented strict control measures. Others attempted diplomatic negotiations. The global political landscape shifted dramatically. Derek explained the deeper threat. A cosmic radiation event was approaching, something that would potentially destroy multiple planetary systems. The human-Xylarian genetic collaboration was a defensive strategy, not a conquest. "Survival requires adaptation," he told Una during one intense training session. "Resistance is a natural response but ultimately counterproductive." Resistance leaders developed sophisticated communication networks. They used quantum encryption, advanced digital technologies, and complex communication strategies to avoid detection. Military intelligence agencies worked overtime. Human and Xylarian teams collaborated to monitor potential threat levels, analyzing every communication channel, every potential resistance movement. Una discovered something unexpected. Many resistance members didn't fully understand the program's true purpose. Fear, misunderstanding, and cultural differences drove their opposition. Global media became a battleground of information and misinformation. Each broadcast, each news report became a carefully calculated communication strategy. Derek shared classified information gradually. The cosmic threat was real, a massive energy disruption that could potentially destroy multiple planetary systems. The human-Xylarian collaboration was humanity's best defense mechanism. Resistance groups began splitting. Some maintained aggressive opposition, while others started understanding the broader context. Information became the most powerful weapon. Una found herself becoming an unexpected bridge. Her scientific background, combined with her direct experience with Derek, allowed her to communicate complex ideas more effectively. The world watched a silent war unfold, not a war of weapons, but a war of understanding. Complex communication strategies replaced traditional conflict methods. As resistance movements grew, so did understanding. Slowly, carefully, the truth began emerging. This wasn't an invasion, this was survival. Derek looked at Una during one session, his alien eyes holding a depth of understanding that transcended species boundaries. "Resistance is the first step towards true collaboration," he said. The program continued. Resistance continued. But something fundamental was changing. Humanity was learning its first real lesson about existing in a larger, more complex universe. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part?" The final phase arrived with a silence more powerful than any previous announcement. Global transformation happened gradually, almost imperceptibly. Una watched the first generation of human Xylarian offspring emerge. Their physical characteristics defied traditional understanding. Children with extraordinary cognitive abilities, enhanced neural networks, and a unique genetic structure that represented something entirely new. Derek explained the deeper purpose during their final collaborative assessment. "This is not just reproduction," he said. "This is planetary evolution." The children were different. They processed information at speeds that made existing human technologies seem primitive. Their brains worked like quantum computers, understanding complex mathematical equations as easily as breathing. Military research facilities documented extraordinary developments. These hybrid children could communicate through multiple sensory channels, understand complex mathematical models instantly, and demonstrate problem-solving skills that astonished global scientific communities. Global infrastructure began changing. Xylarian technologies integrated with human systems. Transportation networks, communication systems, and energy production transformed dramatically. What seemed impossible became standard within months. Una discovered she was pregnant. The genetic mapping suggested their child would be among the first truly advanced hybrid generations. Her body underwent subtle changes, adapting to the complex genetic integration. Resistance movements gradually dissolved. As more information became available, people understood the program's true purpose. This wasn't invasion. This was survival. Global. Educational systems were redesigned. Traditional learning models became obsolete. The new curriculum focused on multidimensional thinking, interspecies communication, and advanced problem-solving techniques. Derek's role transformed from a diplomatic representative to a key integration strategist. His work focused on bridging human and Xylarian understanding, creating communication protocols that would define future interactions. The first hybrid research centers opened in major global cities. Seoul, Tokyo, New York, and London became primary research hubs, documenting every developmental stage of the new genetic integration program. Medical technologies advanced rapidly. Diseases that were previously considered incurable became manageable. The hybrid genetic structure provided unprecedented immunological capabilities. Governments restructured. Traditional national boundaries became less relevant. A new global, collaborative system emerged, driven by the need for unified survival strategies. Una watched the world change around her. What seemed terrifying 2 years ago now felt like a natural progression of human evolution. The alien program was no longer alien. It was simply the next step. The cosmic threat Derek had mentioned remained a background concern. Multiple planetary defense systems were developed, combining human creativity with Xylarian technological precision. Children in schools learned Xylarian communication methods alongside traditional languages. Multisensory communication became a standard educational requirement. Scientific breakthroughs happened weekly. Energy production, medical research, space exploration, everything accelerated at an unprecedented rate. Derek explained that this was just the beginning. "Humanity is joining a larger galactic community," he told Una. "This is your first real step beyond planetary limitations." The transformation wasn't just genetic, it was philosophical, technological, and fundamentally evolutionary. Humans were becoming something new, something more than their previous understanding. Global cultures began merging. Traditional differences became less important. A new human identity emerged, one that was more adaptive, more collaborative, more connected. Una felt the changes in her own body. Her neural pathways were subtly changing, becoming more integrated with the new genetic structure. She was becoming something more than her previous self. The world watched and participated. What seemed like an invasion 2 years ago was now understood as a collaborative survival strategy. Derek placed his hand on Una's growing belly, a gesture that represented something more than personal connection. It represented hope, survival, and the next stage of human evolution. The mandatory Alien Brides program had transformed from a controversial mandate to humanity's most significant evolutionary moment. The future was no longer something to fear. The future was something to create. Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this part?